You're good at starting things. The project that launched with real momentum. The habit that held for 2 weeks, the course half completed. The book 3 chapters in. The business plan that got as far as the document. And somewhere in each of them, the same thing happened. The energy disappeared. Not dramatically. Not because something went wrong. It just quietly stopped being the thing you were working on and became the thing you were going to get back to. And then the thing you felt vaguely guilty about. And then the thing you stopped thinking about entirely. And you've explained it the same way most people do, that you lose motivation, that you get distracted, that you're not disciplined enough to follow through, that other people have something you don't. That explanation is wrong. Here's what's actually happening. The brain doesn't reward finishing things. It rewards starting them. Specifically, it rewards novelty. The moment a new idea arrives, a new project, a new goal, a new version of what your life could look like, the brain releases dopamine, not as a reward for what you've done, as an anticipation signal for what could happen. That feeling of excitement at the beginning of something new isn't motivation. It's a neurological response to possibility, and it's one of the most powerful feelings the brain produces. But here's the problem. That feeling isn't sustainable. It was never designed to be. Dopamine spikes at novelty and recedes as novelty fades, which means the further into a project you get, the more familiar it becomes, the more the initial excitement normalizes, the less neurological reward the work produces. And at exactly the point where the work gets hard, where the early momentum has faded and what's left is the unglamorous middle section that requires sustained effort without the dopamine payoff of a new beginning, the brain starts looking for the next spike. Psychologists call this novelty-seeking behavior, a pattern where the brain's reward system consistently prioritizes new stimulation over the sustained effort required to complete existing commitments. And here's what makes it so difficult to recognize as a pattern rather than a preference. Starting something new feels like progress. The new project doesn't feel like abandoning the old one. It feels like growth, evolution, moving towards something better. The brain doesn't file it as avoidance, it files it as ambition. And so the cycle continues. Start, excitement, fade, abandon, start again. Each new beginning producing the same neurological reward. Each abandoned project adding quietly to a growing file of evidence about what kind of person you are. But here's where the psychology gets genuinely uncomfortable. Because novelty-seeking isn't the only mechanism driving the pattern. Underneath the dopamine cycling, for most people who never finish things, there's something more specific. Finishing is terrifying, not in an obvious way, not consciously, but at the level where behavior actually gets decided. Because an unfinished project exists in a protected state. It can't be judged. It can't fail publicly. It can't be measured against what you hoped it would be and found wanting. As long as it stays incomplete, it retains something more valuable to the brain than completion. Potential. The unfinished novel could still be great. The unlaunched business could still succeed. The incomplete course could still change things. As long as the work stays unfinished, the best version of it remains possible. Completion in the end ends that. It turns potential into reality. And reality can be evaluated, criticized, rejected, compared against the vision that made the project feel worth starting in the first place. So the brain develops a strategy that's elegant in its simplicity. Stay in the starting phase. Keep the dopamine cycling. Keep the potential intact. And never arrive at the moment where the work has to stand on its own. The result is a life full of beginnings, and the persistent, uncomfortable sense that you're somehow less than the sum of everything you've started. Because potential without completion isn't progress. It's the longest way of staying exactly where you are. So here's the question worth sitting with. Think about the last thing you didn't finish. Was it because the work stopped being worth doing? Or because it got close enough to real that finishing it would have required finding out what it actually was? Because those two things feel identical at the moment the energy disappears, and only one of them is about the project. If a specific unfinished thing came to mind reading this, one that's been sitting somewhere for longer than makes sense, the reason it's still there is worth more of your attention than the thing itself.